Hello, everyone. It's Sarah Ford with Warming Up with Sincerely Sarah. Today, I am graced with the presence of Kim White. I always like to give a little backstory, Kim, on how I meet people. And so Kim and I met in a boot camp. And so with Scentsy, when you promote to what we call director, which is the third from the highest compensation plan, you are then invited to be able to attend what's called a boot camp, where you learn more about leadership and all the things that are involved in that. And so Kim and I went, it's been almost 4 years, I guess. And so we met there, and then we've just continued to kind of have a relationship. And we all try to stay connected a little bit. But anyway, so Kim and I promoted to superstar director fairly close to each other, I think. When did you promote exactly?
I promoted October of 2020.
Okay, so I was in April, so about 6 months apart. So anyway, so that's kind of our story and how we know each other and how we kind of got to here. So welcome, Kim, and thank you so much for doing this interview with me. I was telling her before, I'm just really excited to hear her story a little bit more in depth and what that looks like. So welcome again. Thank you for joining us. And please share with us how you got started with Scentsy and kind of what that looked like.
Well, thank you, Sarah, for having me. I've watched a lot of the videos that you've done, so I'm super flattered that you considered me to do one of these with, because it's pretty exciting to be amongst the others that you've done this with. So, yeah, so my story, I'm one of those people who feels like my story isn't very special, but everybody's got, their own thing that makes their story unique. And so I joined Scentsy in December of 2015. December 16th, so 2 days before Christmas cutoff, which is kind of, now being in Scentsy seems like kind of a weird time to join, because if we're in Scentsy, we know that usually that second half of December isn't super busy. And so I joined right before that little lull, that little break that we all get. But so where was I when I joined? So at that time, I have triplets. I know Sarah knows that, but for others that don't, I am a mom of triplets. They're going to be 9 in March, which is just completely mind blowing. But at the time that I joined Scentsy, they were 2.5. And I was kind of in a weird place because so I had been out of work. I had been a stay-at-home mom their entire life, plus about 4 or 5 months prior, because I was put on bed rest at 20 weeks when I was pregnant with them. And so I had not been working for about 3 years. And as anyone out there who is a mom knows, like, once you have kids, your priorities change and your life changes and your whole dynamic changes. And I kind of felt like I had lost my own personal identity in that 3 years. And I know a lot of people, I think sometimes you don't realize it until you look back, because I didn't realize how lost. I mean, I can't think of a better word for it, but I was really lost in terms of my own identity and my own individuality, because once I got pregnant with triplets, like, everybody referred to me as the triplet mom, and that's how everybody knew me. And it's true. And I wear that badge of honor, but I didn't know, like, who I was anymore. I didn't go to work every day, so I could no longer say I was a finance analyst. Like, I didn't have those things tied to me anymore. And so, I didn't get out a lot because triplets, and I just didn't really have a sense of who I was. And so the other piece of the puzzle of how I came to Scentsy, or how Scentsy found me, or whatever you want to call it, was I had this extreme guilt of not contributing financially to my family. And it was all self-inflicted. When I got pregnant with the triplets, my husband and I decided together that I was not going to go back to work after I had them. We would have been looking at $3,000 a month in childcare, and I wasn't making much more than that at my job. So it just didn't make sense financially for me to go back to work. And so I stayed home. And so even though, I was contributing by staying home and us not having that expense, that's not how my mind viewed it. My mind viewed it as you're staying at home, you're not working, you're not contributing. And so I was extremely guilty. Like if I wanted to buy something at Target or Amazon, like I found myself asking my husband for permission because I just felt really bad. I'm like, well, how can I go out and spend money if I'm not bringing any money in? And he never ever made me feel that way. That was all me overthinking and all of that stuff. But so when I found Scentsy, I mean, I had been using the products for about a year, not super religiously, because the first time that I bought Scentsy, I bought it from a Facebook party and the consultant never followed up with me. So after I used up my 3 bars, I bought a mini warmer and 3 bars. And after I used those up, I didn't know that you could just go online and buy it. Like I thought I had to go through that person. I didn't know who that person was. So honestly, I just started using the stuff from the store because I didn't know how to get Scentsy. So a friend of mine had joined and I was like, awesome. She had a party and I said, awesome, I can get some more Scentsy. So I did that. Then I hosted a party and then a couple of friends hosted a party. And so my wheels started turning that I was kind of like, like this is something that I could maybe try to do from home. I don't have to leave a lot, because I could see that there was an online presence of it. And I've never been one to even, I can't even say I've enjoyed going to like the home parties when I was younger. Like I remember going and there were jewelry parties and candle parties and all the things. And I remember thinking to myself, like, I could never do this. I'm an introvert, by the way. So it's, all of this stay home for the last 2 years has not been horrible for me because I like to stay home. So, being able to do this online, kind of like behind the safety of my computer, was kind of intriguing. And so I did a little bit of research. I talked to my friend, asked her a billion questions. I asked her probably no short of 5 times, like, what happens if I don't sell the minimums? Like, do they come get my kit? Do I get put on a blacklist? Like, what happens? And she reassured me, nothing will happen. You just go inactive. It's no big deal. And so I waffled for a couple months. Like I was thinking about it and I didn't want to pull the trigger because I was scared. And my husband was all for it. He's like, give it a try. Like, you might like it, whatever. And so long story, slightly less long, I filled out the registration stuff, probably 75% of the way, at least 3 times. And then I would back out and I would walk away because I'm like, no, I can't do this. So finally, one day he had asked me if I did it. And I was like, I can't push the button. I can't push the button. And so I made him push the button for me. Like I did everything else, but I made him hit submit or join, whatever the button says. And my thought process behind that was that if I tried and I failed, that I could blame him because he pushed the button, right? So I didn't want to have to take that responsibility. And at the time, like my intent was never to grow a team. My intent was, honestly, I thought I was going to last maybe the 3 months that, because at that time it was 150 in sales every 3 months. And so I was like, if I can make it 3 months, that would be great. My big goal was to make $100 a month so that I could go shopping and that I could have something to do like after the kids went to bed where it was my thing. Like I have to go do this because I kind of crave that responsibility, I guess, like outside of being a mom. Like being a mom is 24.
As if having 3 children at the same age is not enough responsibility.
But that's the thing though. It's like I was busy. It's not like I was bored, but I needed something aside from that. Like I needed something for me. And so I finally did it and I was terrified. Like he hit the button and I like walked away. I was like, do not want to I didn't have high expectations. But I had to hit the ground running because like I said, I joined 2 days before Christmas cutoff. And so my sponsor was like, we need to do your lunch party right away because this is a, good time to get going because it's the very end of this Christmas time. And so I hit the ground running. I mean, I was one of those people that like the day I signed up, I was on Facebook telling people I joined and I did a launch party that night. And here we are 6 years later. So
yeah, that's amazing. That's just incredible. Okay. So you joined, you did your launch party, you started going. Did you achieve shooting star and sensational start? Was that something that you were able to accomplish?
did. So I hit shooting star, and my shooting star date was New Year's Eve. So what really helped was that, so I joined on the 16th. My kit came pretty quickly. I think it came like the 23rd, 22nd or 23rd of December. And we do a family gathering on Christmas Eve with my family. So I took all my testers and I was super excited at this point, right? Because I just got all my stuff. So I took the catalogs and I took the testers, and I actually have pictures of one of my daughters smelling and showing my mom the testers and like putting them under her nose and stuff. And so I actually got sales at my family event. I got an order from my sister-in-law and an order from my mom that night that we went to Christmas Eve. And then I went to a New Year's Eve party with some of my friends, and I took my stuff there with me, and I got enough orders to hit shooting star by New Year's Eve. And then I also was able to hit sensational star level 2. And so I think at that point, it was kind of like, okay, this is fun. Like I can do this. I kind of gained a little bit of confidence at that point. Like, okay, I'm, 2 months into this and I'm still doing pretty well. Didn't know what was going to happen after that, but to know that I had accomplished 2 goals already was a real confidence booster for sure.
So did you start recruiting right away, or was it?
Well, I didn't. So I got my first team member, I believe it was in March of 2016. So it was about 3 months after I joined.
Okay.
But honestly, I wasn't trying because I was scared. Like I felt like I didn't know what I was doing in my own business yet. And so it was a friend of mine. Actually, it's funny because she's still with me, and she had ordered from me, and I sent her a thank you note with a sample in it and a business card. And she goes on our team page every once in a while and posts about how she put that in the shadow box and she keeps it as part of her Scentsy story, because that's kind of what got her interested in doing it. But when she told me she wanted to join, I panicked because I'm like, I don't even know, like, I don't know how to lead you. Like, I don't know, you know what I mean? It's a scary thing. I don't think that recruiting is my strong point, but I think what helps is that I'm really just like, I kind of put it out there. Like I'm super transparent. Like I share the things that I love. I talk about the things that I love. And then it's the people that they get interested in that. And so, I mean, yeah, I would love to say that, I'm a great recruiter, and that's not the case, but I kind of got put into that position when she started. I was like, okay, now I kind of have to shift a little bit here because I've got like a new baby, right? I've got another baby.
Yeah.
Kind of help along here. And so I remember feeling really scared, and I remember not, it was never my intent. Like I said, when I joined, I just wanted to make $100 a month so I could go shopping. Never did I think anyone was ever going to want to join. And then somebody did. And so I was like, okay, now what do I do? But it was, I can't remember when I got the next person, but it was a pretty like consistent over the first year. And I think because I was still like, every time I would hit a goal, whatever it was, like I was sharing that because I was excited about it. And I was kind of blowing my own mind, honestly, because I didn't think I was going to do very well. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, what do you think are the things that you did after that first person joined? Was it the sharing of what you were doing and what you were accomplishing that you think led people to be underneath of you, to join with you?
I think so. I mean, I'm thinking about the people that have joined, and really, I mean, I'm not a person who goes out there and is like, join Scentsy for $99. Like I'm not a walking billboard. And so I really kind of try to, I don't know. It's really about making connections with people, like really getting to know people and, seeing what their likes are. Like the people that I approach about the opportunity are people that I see that already love the products. And I mean, I will be honest, like I don't go to people and be like, I know you've never used this, but I got this free kit. So you know what I mean? Or whatever, take that out. But you know what I mean? Like, I don't just everybody, because even the people that have joined that love the products, they're not all still consultants. I mean, this journey is different for everybody. So sometimes it's a longer path than it is with others. But I feel like for me, I have the most success when I'm really just connecting with people and then letting them know that like you're, you're spending this money anyways, right? Like you don't have to go out and do, I think part of the fear that people have is that they see some of the things that, the big huge goals that people are hitting, and that's great, but it's also really intimidating to a lot of people. And so I think if you can let people know that it's not all about 6 7 figures and all of those things, like whatever it can do to help you be happier and more fulfilled, then that's what it's all about. Like I didn't even think I would ever be able to go to home office. Like I remember people posting about going to boot camp. It was probably my first year when they were doing boot camps. And I remember seeing people post about, I'm going to home office. And I can close my eyes and remember thinking like, that would be so cool. It'll never happen for me, but it would be so cool if it did, and now it's happened, but it's kind of like, I didn't have those big dreams and goals when I started. And I don't think 95% of the people that join, they don't have those big dreams and goals. And so to lead with those big dreams and goals isn't super authentic, because that's not what people are looking at. I can't somebody and be like, hey, do you want to earn a trip? Like, I mean, yes, it's possible, but it's also, I feel like, a thing where if you lead with something big and huge and somebody falls short, it's going to be a bigger blow than it would be if you just kind of inched into things. So that's kind of my approach with it.
Yeah, I think that's a really great perspective to have. And I think a lot of times too, different people know different people. And so we all know who are, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know what the word is, sorry. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but, the only word I can think of is fan base, but our community, our network of people, we know who those people are. And so if I know that the people that I'm going to be impacting are the moms who, might just want, like you said, like $100. Maggie Hensley in her interview talked about literally just wanting to be able to go to McDonald's and buy fries without feeling guilty. And so, that's something that I love, that perspective of everybody has a different place that they want to start. And let's start at the bottom and work our way up so that we are achieving those goals. And I really, really love that perspective. Also, I do want you to know that I will post the income disclosure below, so there's no worry about that. Also, side note, she mentioned some host kits, and so I will talk about that for just a second, just so that people know what we're talking about. So you're able to earn a kit, and so a lot of times consultants will have what we call discounted kits. And so that's what that is. It's where you can host a party, and instead of paying $99 for your starter kit, you're going to get the same exact business. You're just not going to get the same exact amount of tools. And so if you wanted to join for less than, you could host a party, and the kit is $59, and you can use your credit for your product or whatever with your party. So that's kind of what Kim had mentioned, and that's kind of what she was talking about. And so we believe, and I would say probably most of Scentsy believes, that you kind of get in what you put, like you kind of get out of it what you put in. And so if you want to be successful, it's, as a sponsor, it really shows when you're willing to kind of work for that kit too. And so I just wanted to make that side note. But also then, okay, so then let's fast forward a little bit. So you've done this, you ended up recruiting more people. They, I'm assuming, started to recruit, and then you hit director. How long did that take?
So I hit director in September of 2017. So it was almost 2 years.
Okay.
Into my business is when I hit director. And it was actually, it's a bright spot in my Scentsy journey, but it happened during a really sad time for me. My dad was in the hospital, was diagnosed with stage 4 liver cancer, and he went in for a routine procedure. They ended up needing to take his gallbladder out, and while they were in there, they found a huge mass on his liver, diagnosed him with stage 4 liver cancer, and he was gone 3 weeks later. All during this time is when I hit director. And so the reason that I give you the detail on that is because I was spending 10, 11, 12, 13 hours at the hospital for a good 3 weeks, like the entire time.
Mhm.
And this was during the incentive period for the Mediterranean cruise. And I remember telling my dad, once we knew that he wasn't coming home, like we didn't know how much time he had left, but we knew he wasn't going to be coming home. I remember telling him, like, I'm earning this cruise and I'm taking mom on it, and he was lucid. He knew, like, he was there. And so I would spend all this time at the hospital, and hospitals are depressing, like, especially when you're there for something like that. And so I would come after 10, 11, 12 hours at the hospital, supporting my mom and being there for my dad. And, translating for nurses and doctors, like trying to get my mom to understand what they were saying. I would come home and I would work on Scentsy. And people would think that I was crazy, but I'm like, but that was like my happy place. Like, I was sad all day long at the hospital. And then I would come home and I would be able to do something that made me happy and brought me joy. And so during that time, and it was an escape, right? So like I was working really hard. And I wasn't working really hard so I could hit director. I was working really hard to keep my mind off of these other things. And because this made me happy. And so when I hit director, he was still in decent shape. And I remember going into the hospital the day on October 1st and being like, hey, guess what happened? I hit director. And he didn't really know, like, he doesn't know all of the sensing and everything. So he didn't really know what that meant, but he knew that I was really excited about it. And so to be able to have done that and have that be like a memory that we had together was a super awesome, like I said, it was a sad time for me and a happy time for me, but to be able to put them together was pretty special.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. Well, I hate that for you, but I love that you had that moment to share with him of celebration, and that he was able to give you that, celebration as well. So okay, so then it was another 3 years and you promoted to superstar director. And so what do you think are the things that you do on a daily basis that really push you to that next level, that you feel like is the difference between someone who stays as a certified consultant for 4 or 5 years, never really promoting, to becoming the top of the commission chart?
So I think when I think about like my strengths in my business is number one, like I am consistent.
Mhm.
Like there are days where I don't want to do things. There are days where I just don't want to even, get out of bed. And do I take days off? Sure. I take days off. I don't want people to think that, I come in here and I work 24/7 and that's how it's got to be. But the key is consistency. Like, I feel like if you want to be taken seriously in anything, it doesn't have to be Scentsy, it can be anything. You
Mhm.
have to be consistent with it. And if you want the results, you have to put in the work. And it's not fair for someone to say that XYZ doesn't work if you're not working it, whatever it is. I mean, I can say the same thing. I mean, we all have health and wellness journeys. And I could very easily say, well, this program doesn't work because I haven't lost any weight or I haven't gained any muscle or whatever. But if I'm not doing the work, then I have no place to say that. And
Absolutely.
so I think if you're willing to put in the work, then results are going to come eventually.
Mhm.
So consistency is huge. Like, I show up every day in different ways. There may be days where I'm hustling a lot harder than other days, but I'm showing up, and my people know, my people being my customers and my team members, like, they know that I'm in this for the long haul.
Yeah.
And I don't just show up at the end of the month when I want to meet my PRV goal. And I don't just show up in the last month of an incentive period because I want to hit an incentive. And I don't just show up and check in on my team when, you know, we're falling short of where we should be for numbers for the month. Like I am there every day, and my customers know that they can come to me whenever. My team members know that they can come to me whenever. And so I think, you know, in terms of success, I think you see it across the board with anybody that's doing well in any business, like consistency, reliability, authenticity. Like I mean, if I'm having a day, people know I'm having a day, but that's part of who I am. And so I can't, you know, there are days where there's no makeup and the hair's in a messy bun, and that's okay. I might go live on that day. It's
I did
okay.
the other day. My hair was all jacked up, and I was like, whatever. And because I want them to see, you know, that this is how I work sometimes. Sometimes I'm in my office with a messy bun and a pajamas, and I'm stickering catalogs because that's what you do. So I really love that, because that consistency is key. And so a lot of times too, as leaders, I think someone says to us that nothing's working, and you go to their Facebook page and they have nothing, you know, and not to say that Facebook should be your thing, you know, you have to do more than that, but that if you want to be at the highest level, and you want to be even more than just a certified consultant, maybe you want to make more money, and so you want to sell more, maybe you don't even want to promote, but you want to sell more, you can't just sit on the sidelines and think that people are going to come to you. So let me ask you this. What do you think has been the biggest change for you, or the biggest blessing for you, when it comes to having your husband click that join button to now? Like, what does your life look like, and how is it different because of that decision that you made?
I can say without even having to think about it, that the biggest impact that it has had on me is the personal growth that I have had. I am still an introvert, but I'm a more confident introvert. And so I can tell you that if this was a different scenario and you would have asked me 5 years ago to sit down and talk about literally anything, I probably wouldn't have even answered you, because I would have been embarrassed to say no or whatever. But so when I have a degree in accounting, and I did accounting before I got pregnant with the kids, but I never, ever, ever felt confident in what I was doing. And I don't know if because I was female, or because I was younger than a lot of the people that I worked with, or what it was, because I knew what I was doing, but I never felt confident about it. Like I would go to work and I would get the job done and I would go home. Didn't really enjoy it. Never really felt confident about it. And the difference I think that I've had over the last 6 years is like, I can see how far I've come. And so, you know, it's okay for me to say, like, I'm good at this. Like I'm doing a good job, you know, and, you know, amazing recognition, which is great. But you know, every level that we hit, and I don't mean level like in the compensation plan, I just kind of mean like every challenge that we overcome, every time we have to do something that we're scared to do, every time we have to show a little bit of courage, a little bit of bravery, whatever, you know, it just builds that confidence that much more. There are still things that I do in this business that scare me to death. There are still things that I don't enjoy doing, and they're not easier now, but I'm just better at it now because I've continued to do it, instead of letting the no's stop me and be like, well, nobody wants to do this, so I guess I'm done. You know, a very left brain, type A, analytical person. And so I'm driven by goals. I'm driven by being to work towards something, whether it's an incentive or a PRV goal or whatever. And so for me, like every time I hit something, like I want more. And so you know, 5-6 years ago, when I didn't think that I came in here thinking I was going to fail. Like, and I was completely prepared for that. And I was okay with it. I'm like, hey, you know, I was asking what happens when I don't sell enough? Like that was my intent. I didn't think it was going to last. And so I think the more you do things and the more you see little successes, just even little nuggets, it could be, I challenged my team today to make to get one order. I said, I
Mhm.
don't care what it is. I'm not going to tell you to go sell bars. I'm not going to tell you to go sell laundry or an air purifier or whatever. I said, go out there and get one order today. It's going to require you to talk to people. It's going to require you to do some work, but I guarantee you that you're going to make some progress if you just do this one little thing. And
Mhm.
so it's like, I look at myself where I was when I started, like super scared and didn't know what to do. But if you just do something every day, you're
Mhm.
going to start to build and build and build. And then you're going to get your confidence when things start working. I love it when a team member comes to me and they're like, I didn't think I could do this, whatever it was, XYZ challenge or whatever. And they're like, but I did it. Like, I can't wait to go back to my team page tonight and see like how many people went out and got orders. Like
Yeah.
I get over that because I love to see people get out of their comfort zone and have something work for them.
Yeah. Now I'm inspired to go challenge my team to get an order and see how they do. And because it's, I hate to bring this up, but it is a weird season that we're in. And even this morning, I was talking to my husband about all the things, and just it's easy to live in this world of fear, but it's also just as easy to live in a world of celebration and happiness and gratitude. And so why do we choose fear? Because it's a whole lot easier to say, oh, I'm scared, than it is to go, oh my gosh, look at this great thing. Like, oh, I curled my hair today. Like, I mean, to do the things and to celebrate the things that maybe we don't celebrate every day. But why not? And I think that's something that that is the culture that Scentsy has, and that is why it's so important for us to celebrate those little victories, even if it's a 3-pack of wax that somebody buys. To me, like, you see those memes, like every time you buy something, a small business owner does a little dance or whatever. It's true, because even if you buy a 3-pack of wax, like, to me, like, that's $17, but like, you just spent $17. It might have taken you an hour or more to make that $17, and you just invested that in my business. Of course, you're getting something. Oh, come on. Oh, sorry. I thought I lost you. Are you there? Okay. I don't know what happened. I was like, what happened? Sorry. Okay. Bloop. Somebody was calling me and I thought it just went away. So anyways, celebrate the small things and be grateful and have all the gratitude. And I love that. So what do you think? Well, let me ask you this. I'll ask you 2 questions. Number 1, what do you think is you talked about the moment with your dad and hitting director. Is there another moment where you were like, wow, this really happened? Like a really great moment for you that you realized that you had really accomplished what you wanted to accomplish?
So, yeah, I think for me, I think the biggest, like, not aha, but like the biggest wow moment for me, I earned the top 150 cruise to the Netherlands that got canceled. And it wasn't about the cruise. It wasn't about the cruise at all. Truth be told, I wasn't going to go because it fell over the kid's birthday and I did not want to miss the kid's birthday. But when I would check my workstation and I would see like, you're in the top 150, like that to me was like, I'm like, are you sure? You know what I mean? Like, it was just, I was shocked because again, I've never had the greatest self-confidence in myself. And so I still surprise myself when I do something that like works out. Right. But to log in and to see that. And then once I started seeing it, I was like, okay, well now I have to do this because again, goal driven. So I'm not going to lose this now. I'm in this top 150. And so just to be able to say that I did that and I was among the people that did that is huge for me. Like, it could have been anything. It didn't have to be a cruise to the Netherlands. It didn't have to be any, it doesn't matter what it was. Like,
Mhm.
for me, it was just the fact that I earned it and that I worked my butt off, and that was something that I told myself I was going to do. Same thing with the Mediterranean cruise. When I was, when I said to my dad, like, I'm going to earn this and I'm going to take my mom on this cruise. Like, that was it. Like, there was no negotiating. Like, it was going to happen. And so to be able to like see that come to fruition is huge. And it, like I said, a huge confidence boost. And it shows me that me and everybody else, like, if you put your mind to it and you let the no's and the hiccups and the obstacles and the roadblocks get you completely off track, that
Yeah.
you can do things. You can do big, scary things
Mm-hmm.
as long as you don't let big, scary things derail you.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. Okay. So the one thing that you would say to anyone, and maybe you just said it, but the one thing that you would leave everyone with, that you would want to say to anybody watching this who maybe they aren't a big fan of multi-level marketing, maybe they are considering joining, but they're feeling a little whatever about it, or maybe they are a consultant and they're just working their way through the steps, what would you tell them?
So I think, like, if I was to give one piece of advice, it would literally be to, it's that saying, I don't know the exact thing, like, but you don't have to conquer the whole staircase, just take the first step, whatever that saying is,
Mhm.
because it's very easy to get overwhelmed by all of the things that are in front of us, whatever it is. But I say this as I'm looking at my daughter's room, because we just sold their beds and their room is a disaster. So I'm looking at this going, I have this big mess to clean up. But anyway, it's very easy to get overwhelmed by all of the big goals that we have, whatever they might be in your business, in your life, whatever. But if you can just take one small bite at a time, it is so much more manageable and less stressful. And I really have to remind myself consciously every single day, whatever it is, if I'm sitting down to work on Scentsy stuff, it's okay, this is what I need to do today. Like, do I have a big brain dump list? Absolutely. Do I have a million things on my to-do list? Absolutely. But I just look at one thing at a time. And it's the same thing in everyday life. Like, if you can just tackle one thing at a time, you will get there eventually. Wherever there is, whatever that means to you, you will get there. But you cannot let the small roadblocks get in your way. Like, you have to get out of your own way, because we are the ones that stop ourselves from doing anything we want to.
Yeah.
Point fingers, we can lay blame, we can do whatever we want to do. But the only person that stops us from doing whatever we want to do is us.
Yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
there are ways around pretty much any obstacle that gets thrown at us. If we just have the determination to figure it out, we
Mhm.
can, detour.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's really, I mean, I'm sure there's a few things, but like I said, 99% of the things that get thrown at us, if we sit down and go, okay, I don't care about that. I need to get here. How do I get there? By going around whatever this obstacle is. But we get stuck there. And then we either quit or we just,
Mhm.
brush it aside, and we just we get sidetracked. And if you just go and do it and push through, you will get there eventually. It
Yeah.
might take months, it might take 6 years, but you will eventually get there.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Well, I'm so grateful that you joined me today, and that we can share with the world. And so thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for sharing your story, because I know that sometimes it's hard to just share the good things about us, and to just be a little bit vulnerable. So don't hop off here. I'm going to stop this recording. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.